Alright, what's up, Wolfpack? We got another video. Once again, it's pretty busy, so I'm doing this this a little earlier than I'd like to. I do have some stuff I want to talk about, but I do want to get this warm-up set done and over with. We're back on leg curl, if I haven't said it already. 85 pounds on the machine, and just do however many I feel like. Then we'll go from there. I feel like this is a better camera angle than yesterday. Might need to use this more often. Okay, should be good for now. We'll go to 190. I think that's where I left off last time. Don't think I did 10 last time. Alright, first thing I wanted to talk about, even though I've been trying to avoid it, or bringing it up, is really just my classes. Today was it was rough, to say the least. First half, my first 3 classes were relatively easy. The lab I had today was rough, considering, I'll be honest, I've been kind of getting, I've been doing very little work in that class. I've kind of been hoping on my partner to kind of lock in and do it all, as I kind of just make sure it's going good. But today it was just me, so I got humbled. I think by the time I did the first, or one of them, I didn't do it chronologically, but by the time I finished my first part of the lab, everybody was gone, and I had an hour left in the 3-hour class. So, I got humbled pretty quickly, and then I found out I had I have a test on that lab, or in that lab next week, which wasn't the greatest feeling. Cortisol is through the roof. Secondly, I forgot what I was going to say. Secondly, I had something and then I lost it. Oh yeah. I'm going to go back to the lab. I did not finish the lab technically. There was two activities I didn't do, so sorry, Mom. I know you watch these. Sorry I didn't finish it. Not really worried about, the stuff that I missed, considering one of them I can do on the activity sheet, then the other one's just a dissection of a bladder. I could just look that up online, worst comes to worst. So I'm not really worried about the things I missed. I really went over the most important stuff, which I also think I did wrong. So, if you want me to do well, wish me luck. Oh, that reminds me, I was going to talk about me. I'm considering trying to go for a PhD in exercise science. If you guys don't know, for the people who might be watching when I was originally making the economy video, I think I went over my major, or my double major, where I was a marketing and accounting major. Update to now. Didn't find accounting too fun, even though I do still have to take an accounting class as it's part of the business course. Didn't find accounting the most enjoyable thing in the world. It was kind of easy, very boring. So I decided to switch to exercise science as my second major. And so far I've been loving it, but the grades have tanked. It's not like I'm failing my classes right now, but I would say I have to try a lot harder now, because if I do the same work that I tried for my the accounting classes that I've been taking, I think I'd probably fail all of the exercise science classes that I'm taking. So, do need to lock in, but considering getting my PhD, I think it'd be cool because then I can flaunt to you guys that you know, I'm the smartest person because I have a PhD, so I know what I'm talking about. I could be like a Dr. Mike, but maybe not have like some questionable research paper for whatever the Solomon went over. But no hate towards Mr. Mike, Dr. Mike. My bad. Anyways, I'm gonna get this first set out of the way, and then hopefully I got more to talk about. Actually, before I get this out of the way, I've been bleeding a lot recently. I'm not, actually, trigger warning, blood. I'm not sure if you guys would see it, but I got some bloody knuckles. I was doing my incline bench, and out of nowhere, I just see blood on my arm, and I'm like, okay. Still did the reps, not gonna stop because I'm bleeding. It hasn't stopped me before. It's not really that big of a deal, in my opinion. But, something to at least notice. I'm not gonna, not acknowledge it. I'm not gonna try and orofarm on my own blood. It'd be a little weird. Anyways, I'm getting off topic now. I was gonna start this and I almost forgot to. So I'm gonna get this 190 on the machine. As per usual, if we get more than 10, we'll go up and wait. If not, we're sticking with this for the last set, and then we'll go from there. I think I only did 4 there. That was not a good set right there, in my opinion. No. Maybe I didn't recover enough. In terms of stuff outside of school, I actually have nothing. I need to think of something to talk about real quick. I'm just gonna stare while I think of something. Oh, I remember. So this morning, I was I remember I saw a tweet yesterday about someone, I couldn't tell you who, because I'll be honest, I forgot. But there was some Dexterdo tweet that was so-and-so wished Mr. Beast was never, or deleted from the internet or something like that. And, I was low-key getting myself angry in the shower. Because, I think, a lot of people, really look at a lot of creators, I shouldn't say people, a lot of people, or creators, will look at Mr. Beast, recognize biggest guy on the platform, and kind of just, I think they don't really like the Mr. Beastification of YouTube, I think is what they call it. And I really think it's just, them starting to realize that they need to put more effort. Maybe I'm not the best person to be talking about this, considering I don't put a whole lot of effort in my stuff to begin with. But I think if you're someone who, is angry at what Mr. Beast has done, I think you're kind of being ignorant to the problems in your content. And I would say, maybe just, relook at it. I think Mr. Beast overall has done much more positive than negative in terms of YouTube success. I think, he kind of paved the way for kind of showing that you can almost treat your channel like an actual TV channel and make a lot of money. Biggest guy on the platform for a reason. He puts a lot of effort into his productions. He obviously is spending a lot of money into his productions. He pays his people really well. And, I think a lot of people, a lot of creators, I really am, struggling to say that there. But a lot of creators don't want to, put in the amount that Mr. Beast puts in, which, to be fair, I could see why they wouldn't. But I was thinking, what do I think would, kind of counteract what Mr. Beast has done in terms of how he runs his content. And I would say it's very similar to what I do. I'm not saying I'm gonna, be better or anything. I think that's a little egotistical, much more than I normally like to say, or much more than I normally am. But I think if you're a bit more authentic with yourself, you get a little bit more personal with your audience, and you have the drive and effort to put in the content, or to make the content that Mr. Beast does, but with a much more relatable, personal level to it. I think, YouTube or your success will probably grow. I could be wrong though, I'll be real. I didn't put a whole lot of thought into this. I just feel like you kind of need to almost do a 180 of what Mr. Beast does, and I think a lot of creators that are kind of angry at him are more like in the middle, where a part of their value is their personality, and a part of their value is the ideas that they have. Where I think you kind of specialized more into like a personality based YouTuber or content creator in general, and your ideas kind of came second, but you still had like creative original ideas. I think you would show that you can still be very successful in that way. Anyways, I feel like I don't know how great of a rant that was. I don't know. I don't feel too great about that. But that's what I was thinking of. That was hashtag shower thoughts right there. So I'm going to get this last set out of the way. Hopefully another machine of mine is open so I can at least finish my workout. And then we'll go from here. Obviously, we still got 190 on the machine. I'll be shocked if I get 10, but if I do get 10, we'll go up and weigh next time, and we'll go from there. All right. Okay, I either got 6 or 7 there, maybe 8, but I don't think, I don't really count that last rep, which I think would have been 8 at max. So we're not going up in weight next time, but I'll turn back on the camera when I got the next set ready. All right, what's up, Wolfpack? We got bicep curls for now. I'm going to be real, it's probably going to be the last recorded exercise of the day. Sorry for the back-to-back kind of shorter, just less recorded sets in general. I don't think, I'm not really happy when I do this, but I'm running out of time, and recently I've been spending like 20 minutes per set where, that I'm recording, where it's more like I'm spending like 10 when I'm not. So, if I want to finish this workout, which, to be fair, I don't really have a whole lot to begin with, so maybe I'm just being lazy. But, I think it'd be better if I just choose not to, just so I can get the full workout done. I'll try tomorrow, obviously, to get the full. I might do a morning lift. I'm not 100% sure yet, considering my sleep might take a little chunk if I were to do a morning lift. But I'll keep you guys updated. Also, one thing I forgot to mention, I was gonna go over my weight yesterday. Completely forgot to, or well, I did, but it was after the recorded, or after the recording, so I didn't tell you guys. But as of yesterday, I was about 192. And I did have some stuff in my pockets, so maybe not the exact weight, but I'd say 190, 192, 191 is a very, very, close thing. Which, I mean, I kind of figured already that I was in the 190 range. But, this kind of just proved it. Anyways, I'm going to get this warm-up set out of the way. Got 17 and a half pounds on the cable. Go for how many I feel like, and then we'll go into the first failure set. Okay, that should be good. We'll move it up to 57 and a half sounds, around where I was doing before. I could be wrong, maybe I was doing 62, but, you can complain. I'm gonna still do it. This isn't like I'm doing this before you guys see it, so it's not like you really have a whole lot to say as of right now. Maybe tomorrow. I'll see. But as of right now, no. One thing I did want to talk about a little bit before I get into this first failure set. In between this lift I've had, I was having a pretty good conversation with a friend of mine about the idea of the USA as a whole being an open primary, or each state having an open primary rather than states having to decide whether they want to do closed open or the occasional caucus. And I think it was a really good discussion we had. I think I really I'll go over kind of the general gist. There's a lot more to it than what I'm about to say here, or at least I think what I'm about to say. But I think if you want to hear a really just a general gist. So, my friend, he was he was questioning, the idea of having an open primary, just because he's seeing the situation with Texas right now, where also this is the one thing I actually did fact check him on to see if Texas was an open primary, and they are, just so in case you didn't know. But I believe the Democratic or the person winning the Democratic primary for here. Let me take a quick look back in the text, just so I'm not getting any information 100% wrong. Let's see. Okay, I don't think we talked about where this is, but Jasmine Crockett, if you guys know what she's running for, that's what we were talking about. I believe it's more like a state position, maybe a senator or something. I could be wrong, though. Actually, it is for the Senate. I looked a little bit further back in the text, and yes, it is for the Senate. But he was seeing the primaries between where the leading person for the Republican is Ken Paxton for conservative and Jasmine Crockett for Democrat. And he was noticing that Ken Paxton's a little bit more conservative, and I gotta look back at that third time here. Sorry, but Ken Paxton is leading his primary, and Jasmine Crockett is leading her primary. He believes that Jasmine Crockett, although more moderate, I believe he thinks she's a much worse candidate compared to like James Tallarico, who was someone he mentioned, and he thinks that, because she's a lot more moderate, she's probably going to lose the general election for Senate. And his whole idea is that states with a lot more like a one-sided party, where in Texas, where it'd be conservative, here where I'm at, New York, it'd be a lot more Democratic. But he was thinking that if we were to have a situation where everything was primary, it wouldn't really change much, and if anything, it would kind of push those a more closer direction into the way the state's already kind of functioned, where like New York would be even more Democratic, and for a place like Texas, it would be even more conservative. And we went back and forth. I talked about how, I think ideally the goal of an open primary is to allow, people from the opposing parties to pick more of a more conservative person on the Democratic side and a more Democratic person on the conservative side. I think I said that right. I could be, maybe I fucked that up. I don't know, but ideally, I think if that were the case, we would have a lot more of a moderate election, which would allow for, an overall more moderate state, which I think is probably best case scenario. I mean, I am biased as I'm an independent, I would say, but like, I think a lot of the reasons why political divide is, such an issue is due to these primaries kind of allowing, kind of forcing, or not, I shouldn't say forcing, but I think it kind of leads people to pick more of an extremist candidate for their specific party. Not saying everybody's picking like the most Democratic person or the most conservative person in a closed primary, but I think it kind of alludes to a more extremist view, which I don't think extremism is the way we should really run this. And eventually we got to the point where, we ended it off at his point where he thinks that it will cause, already blue states to be more blue and already red states to be more red. And I think he did have some good points. I eventually, I'd say I conceded in this kind of debate where, I told him I feel like, for a more countrywide election, so like the presidential election, an open primary situation would be much better. But maybe when it comes to more of a state-by-state situation, it'd be better if we actually stuck with what we have now. And then I also told them I also could be wrong with that, as I've never really done research this far. And I think, I think he really opened up, an avenue for me to kind of do some research. I'm not going to do it tonight because I'm probably going to edit this and then go to bed. But, if I don't do that morning lift tomorrow, I'll probably, try and do some research, see how practical a open primary situation would be. And, if I ever want to talk about it again, hopefully I'll be a little bit more prepared. I don't think I was the most prepared for someone to actually oppose it. I think that's a lot more on my end than theirs, considering I wasn't the one doing the proper research. But only reason I really wanted to talk about that was just, you know, the idea that I talked about yesterday of having just an open mind with everything. You know, I could be ignorant and say, oh no, you're wrong. But I also don't have any evidence to back up that claim that I would really be happy with. And I think a lot of people nowadays would kind of fall into a situation where they back up, you know, their already kind of set in stone beliefs with very, I would say, skewed ideas or skewed results. And I think that's overall doing a lot worse for us in terms of how we think about things, I think it kind of stops us from critically thinking about things. And maybe the situation I just talked about isn't the best example, considering I also didn't do a whole lot of fact checking with the stuff that he had to say. But, you know, I think, you know, the overall idea of a lot more of an open discussion, a lot more where you are, you know, trying to understand where they're coming from and then put it, you know, kind of put how they do your thing in your system. So, like, you know, what I'm trying to say by this is, like, let's say I was going against someone who thinks closed parties was the way to go. I think you should really consider a situation where it is an all closed party state, and how, you know, each level of of an election would go. And I think that was kind of the idea of what I was trying to get behind this. But, you know, fact checking would probably be a little better for a better discussion overall. But, you know, I also don't have all day to fact check, considering I was doing bench the entire time. But anyways, hopefully, you know, maybe you reconsider that. And I'm gonna go into the first failure set, 57.5 pounds on the cable. If we get more than 10, we'll go up in weight. If not, we'll stick with this for the last set, and then we'll go from there. Okay, I ran enough there. I don't think I did 10. I think I did 8. I could be wrong. You know, this is an issue on my end, but I don't really count the reps that I do. You know, I have a general idea of where they're around. I'm usually off by like 1 or 2. But you know, I think when I'm really trying to be kind of locked in on moving the way, I kind of lose my train of thought of what rep I'm on, but rather I'm more focused on getting the weight up. Or at least getting the weight up with proper form. You know, oh, that reminds me. You know, I know my mom watches this. If you have any ideas of what you'd want me to talk about, Mom, let me know. No, I'm running out of stuff to say. And to the people who aren't my mom that also watch this, you know, give me some ideas of stuff you'd want me to talk about. I'll try and give best of my ability of what I think of the situation or whatever topic you want me to talk about. You know, I might not be the most knowledgeable on it, but if you really want to hear what I have to say about it, let me know. I'll probably at least do some kind of baseline research before I just go into straight into something. Or if I already have some knowledge, I'll probably just go based off of that. But please, in any way, let me know. Whether it's commenting, whether it's DMing me somewheres. I know my mom likes to text me. So if you want to text me something to talk about, text me. I mean, you probably will text me. You do. Most of the time you text me after, or by the time you're done watching all these videos. So thank you, Mom. Thank you for, continuing to support me. Thank you for helping me out financially, and thank you for, giving your input. I don't think I would have gotten as far as I am right now. I'm not saying I'm, peak, but I think I'd be at a much like slower pace if I didn't have my mom helping me out here. So, thank you, Mom. And like I said to the people outside of my mom, just find a way to contact me about something that you want me to talk about, even if it's through my business email. I'd rather you not go through my business email. But if that's how you're gonna do it, I'd rather you go through my business email than not say anything. And let's say you do comment, that also helps me out in the analytics. Makes me, helps build that viewer retention that my mom skews. I'm gonna finish this last set out. I think I've spent a long time on this set alone, or what? Just this exercise alone. So, maybe a shorter recovery, maybe not the best for me, but I still got a good chunk of the workout to do with only 30 minutes to do it. So I'm gonna get this out of the way, do my intro or outro, and then still 57.5 pounds. If we get more than 10, we'll go up in weight next time. If not, we'll stick with this next time. Anyways, let me get this, and then I'll do my stuff. Wasn't a big fan of that last rep. I feel like I used a lot of back in that last rep there. But I still am going to count it. Didn't do 10. I think I did like 5. Anyways, that's the end of the video. If you liked it, like and subscribe. If you want to follow me on other platforms, I got a link tree in the description. And, do your laundry, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.